It should not be called the age of AI. It should be called the age of machine learning. It is machine learning that makes AI work. AI is simply a goal. Machine learning is the path. Current market standards for professional services in data science and machine learning are very low. As a CEO, you can witness this by the sheer amount of daily AI mis and disinformation, spanning social media to traditional media to industry conferences and even boardrooms. There's a lot of hand-waving. The primary reason for this is simply found in a natural and structural shortage of formal STEM competencies, in particular mathematical literacy, which has persisted and will likely persist for decades. It's a natural and structural barrier defined by both access to quality, elementary and terminal STEM education, as well as total educational attainment in the population at large. It moves at a glacial pace. We see incumbent management consulting firms and global software vendors spread misinformation about AI every week. There's simply a lack of educated and critical thinking out there. The reality is that the current machine learning-driven transformation is the single most knowledge-intensive technology transformation in history. At IQ, we bring the formal knowledge and experience that is missing in the current market and that will remain missing for years to come. As a pragmatic CEO, when you see large consulting groups claim AI leadership, billions of dollars in new AI investments, or we just hired 300 data scientists, you should know that but a handful of individuals graduate with a formal and successful machine learning track PhD in the US every year. That is the cold reality of where we are as an industry. Just like in the regulated trades, such as law or medicine or civil engineering, scientific machine learning and engineering is a trade where formalized skill and rigor actually matters. Most machine learning track PhD graduates will leave the US and go back to their home countries like Canada, France, Germany, Greece, China, or Korea shortly after graduation, with only a few eventually landing in asset and process-intensive industries years later. This also means that very few with formal machine learning training have had any real industrial exposure or experience at all. It's therefore simply neither demographically nor logically possible for every incumbent out there to all of a sudden claim industrial AI leadership. It boils down to marketing. At the end of the day, it is scientific machine learning that powers the most relevant, accurate, and precise artificial intelligence techniques in use today. The world of scientific machine learning is actually very small. We tend to know each other or of each other across the world. If you count the folks who can explain why fractional calculus is a better approach for addressing problems in materials R&D at a chemical plant than a vanilla neural network out of a box, it becomes a very small community on a global basis. In a world where commercial AI software vendors scream for your attention, this is key for you as a CEO to appreciate. Skill still makes software work, not the other way around. At IQ, we foresaw and have been filling this esoteric skill gap for years now. This means we're typically years ahead of our competition when it comes to formal education, but just as important with regards to tactical and industrial field experience. In real life, no industry is the same. No use case is the same. No problem is the same. No solution is the same. We have true experts who wrote vector machines and neural networks for industry 25 years ago, and we're still doing it. In a field where incumbents and startups lack skill and experience, this matters to you, the client. With commercial AI, so-called generative AI, mastery of scientific fundamentals will simply become more important for the protection of life and assets, not less. You need deep esoteric skill and rich industrial experience. At IQ, we provide both.